Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I am your host. And joining me this week are my go-to podcast compadres, Mr. Joe Lever.
Hey.
And Mr. Levi Fletcher.
Hey. Joe, you're so creepy. Hey.
I like how you both did the A thing.
I had to just mock Joe a little bit.
Hey.
Please don't strike your computer if anything is wrong with it, Joe, to repair it. You're just going to be like, it's broken, don't worry about it. Viruses, hey. It's fine. Definitely won't break. Well, thank you, boys, for both joining me this week. It's been a while since we've got the triumvirate, the trifecta back together, but it feels good, baby. We're reunited and it feels so good. If I just sang for 3 hours, people would be like, this podcast really took a turn. Anyway, thank you for everybody who's joining us. We really appreciate it. And for anybody who's joining us for the very first time, I like to talk about movies, games, TV shows, all that stuff. And thankfully, finally, we have some news to discuss. It's been a few weeks of kind of nothing. But this little event, small event called San Diego Comic-Con took place recently. We got some news out of that. Before we get to it, we have some breaking news. I mean, it's breaking. It's so hot, I can barely hold on to it. Now, if you guys know me, my favorite TV show is... Did anybody know it? Anyone know my favorite TV show?
It's
no.
I'll give you guys a hint. It's a sitcom.
Frasier.
Oh, Frasier.
Yeah. Okay, so, breaking news. Kelsey Grammer they call it a reboot, it'd be more of a spin-off or continuation of the show Frasier, with him still playing the lead role as Frasier.
Like it would be same characters and everything?
Well, they'd have newer ones because I think John Mahoney, his father, did pass away, and I don't think it's going to take place in Seattle. It might take place in Chicago, where that show ended, picking up where Frasier left off, chasing after this, basically his love of his life. So it's like, would they do that and not have him, like, you know, be with this person? I hope she would be in it, but maybe Niles would be there. David Hyde Pierce was kind of like a big part of that show, and losing that brotherhood would be, I feel like, really rough. Like I'd want them to be together somehow, some way, because they're so
like watching it now I'm watching it right now for the first time ever. Some of these episodes I've never seen them in my life, and so they all have a lot of chemistry. I feel like it would be weird without Daphne and Ross and
yeah. That's the thing. That's the weird part. And the problem is, if it doesn't take place in Seattle, I don't know how you'd get all those characters to come with them logistically, like in the narrative of the show. It's like we all uprooted and moved to Chicago for some reason or something. It might not take place in Chicago. It's just that's where Frasier had ended. So I don't know. And I know some people are like, you should just leave this stuff alone. Why do you keep rebooting and doing all this stuff? For me, I'm like, yes, it was one of the best shows ever. 11 seasons of a spinoff of Cheers. How is that even a thing? Mm-hmm. Like, but Frasier, man, the writing on that show, oh, God.
I enjoy it. I always looked down on it before, but I like it. I think it's really funny.
It was just over my head as a kid. And I know, Joe, you got a love for it, too.
Yeah, so when I was like a young teen, you know, maybe freshman, high school type age, I would literally watch it on a nightly basis. And I think it was on even on like if I didn't have something going on a weekend or in the winter or something, kind of, you know, stuck in, it was on like late at night for hours, and I would just sit there and watch it constantly. And it was kind of like almost like a comforting thing, you know, and relaxation type thing for me. And I enjoyed it a lot, and the comedy was good, and I even grasped it well at my young age, you know. So it was addictive. It was a really, really well done show.
Yep, and it was just so lovely. If you guys don't remember, I think her name was Charlotte, played by Laura Linney. I think that's who it was, like the person he was chasing after in the last season, more or less. It was his matchmaker that he kind of fell in love with and chased after her. But yeah, there was a lot that happened in those 11 seasons. I could be wrong about that. You can correct me. But I'm just excited about the possibility. Sounds like he's talking to CBS, who is kind of they have production rights to Frasier, or they're kind of they're dealing with all that, even though it was a show on NBC. So I'm not sure what logistically they'd have to hop through to make this happen, and if it actually came to a network or a streaming service, which a lot of these reboots and continuations do come to, like Netflix. I look at like Fuller House being kind of the premier example of like the 90s sitcom like brought to the future, you know. And like continued
show.
Yeah. I like what you said, Joe, about the comforting thing, because for me that was Friends. Big Friends fan.
Yeah.
And Frasier just kind of went over my head. My grandma liked it, and I didn't really get it because, you know, people like Cheers, and so she'd have it on and I'd be like, whatever, it'd be on in the background. But every time I would see those reruns, because they would do like 2 episodes of Frasier, 2 episodes of Friends, and then it was like whatever else the rest of the night. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I would always skip Frasier. So
I know Friends was like way more popular than Frasier ever was, even though Frasier got 11 seasons. Friends only had 10. I just kind of like, I hated so many people on Friends, like the characters. Like I really hated Ross, like a lot. And like I didn't really feel bad for most of them.
Ross. No, just kidding.
Oh my god! I am not.
Fire!
The only thing I liked was like Joey and Chandler, and their relationship was like the only one that I kind of enjoyed. But everybody else, I just and
They
Phoebe
started
always felt out of
dumbing
place.
way too much.
Yeah, that's what the problem I had with that show was. I know it was really popular, and people was always
what was
like,
the problem with it? Huh?
They started dumbing Joey down way too much. I mean, he was already like, you know, comedic relief, but they took it to a point where it was just like he was so stupid at the end. The writing for that character.
Challenge kid.
Yeah.
well, and also they like forced him and Rachel together, and
And
it
that
feels
weird
very
love interest,
weird.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, all right. I mean, that's fine. And then Joey tried to do a Frasier and get his own spinoff, but guess what? It didn't work because it was garbage. But Frasier, I've watched through
flop.
that show. Okay, I will say this for anyone who's like, why would I want to? It's on Netflix, but if you go back and watch it, yes, the beginning of the show does seem very dated as far as even like it's standard def. So, you know, if you're on like a high def TV, you'll have black bars on the side, and their look, like everybody looks like it's back way in, you know, 1993 or whatever. However, the jokes are timeless, and once you get past that, like all of it's still so good. You could pick any episode and it still would apply today. They don't do topical episodes. It wasn't like, oh, you know, who's in the news, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just all really just so wittily done. It's so good. Is wittily a word?
I was surprised to see how many gay episodes, like gay-themed episodes, actually there are.
Oh, my God. One of the best ones
Yeah.
is where Patrick Stewart is on there, and he happens to be, like, this gay opera conductor, and he kind of, Frasier befriends him, and then he, like, thinks that they're a couple, but Frasier is like kind of denying it because he loves to be in the spotlight and he loves all this stuff and he loves to be in this world, and like he's like going on with this ruse forever and ever, and then he's like talking to Frasier later on and he's like, oh yes, I abstain from sex, you know, while I'm in the middle of these types of productions, but my patient Frasier, and like Frasier's like and, like he starts like rationalizing. He's like, I can make it work. He's like, I can make it work. And they're like, Frasier, you're not gay. And he's like, I know, damn, you know, like all that stuff. It's so, oh man. And they always confuse like Niles and Frasier to, especially to be like a gay couple, is just, it's just too.
Because I was laughing the other night because it was, because the dad, like someone thought that Frasier was gay, and then the dad was like laughing his ass off in the kitchen, and then they all left him there, and then. Do you remember that episode? I don't remember who the actor is, but like he thought that Frasier was gay, and he went like, yeah.
Oh, I'm trying.
And then Niles thought it was really funny, and then Daphne thought it was really funny. Yeah,
sure.
I like.
Yeah, which, and again, it's not like the show wasn't bashing that at all. It just was kind of being like a meta commentary of the actual characters of the show.
And pushing the envelope for its time too. I mean, looking back on it, wow! Like I couldn't believe that some of those jokes were being made back then.
Yeah. And they didn't necessarily shy away from that sort of thing, but not that like Frasier was oftentimes trying to like be edgy or anything. It just like fit in that world with them, and they were confused for that a lot. And I just think it's really funny, those episodes. Yeah, it's just a great show. It's very intelligent, and I would love to see it come back, but only if you got the same kind of writers or people like that who knew what made the show great. Like, they don't have to be like every week needs to comment on like the political standings of the nation or anything like that. It's like just make it just good as it was. So, plus, I just think you'd be hard pressed. Like Levi, you said, they have good chemistry as a cast. It'd be so hard to find other people that are going to fit in with all that stuff, like with Frasier himself. So. Yeah, I want to talk about that briefly, but I love Frasier, so we're going to talk about it more than I had planned about it. Anyway, I should ask you guys, like, Joe, would you be excited to see a continuation or like a reboot of Frasier?
Oh yeah, I would. I'd give it a watch, and if I knew it was coming, I'd probably go back and watch like the more recent episodes of Frasier to kind of brush up.
Yeah, it's a good show. Levi, how about you, man? You know, you're kind of newer to it. Would you want that, or are you kind of like, nah, man, I already have 11 seasons of this show. I'm still trying to watch.
Yeah, no, I don't really like how they're just rebooting everything. I mean, if they rebooted Friends, I would think it's weird because they feel like reboots just don't have the same kind of pull.
Sure, yeah. Well, Friends would be weird at this point too.
Yeah.
And I've
Plus-
yet to see a reboot that actually works.
Yeah.
Besides,
Well, I would say
it would be done tastefully if it was like a continuation, but with that, you wouldn't quite get all the previous characters per se.
because I
Yeah.
mean, look at Will and Grace. Reboot didn't do that well.
I think it did well
Roseanne
initially.
didn't do that well.
Wait, which
know.
one?
Roseanne
Oh,
didn't
well,
do that well.
that was
Yeah.
more so their lead. Yeah. And the thing is, like, I wish people wouldn't call it. It's not really a reboot. When I think of reboots, I think of like Sam Raimi Spider-Man rebooted to Amazing Spider-Man. It's like completely different everything. Like this is just a continuation or a spin-off. That's what. It's not as sexy to call things a spin-off, I guess, any day, or nowadays. But yeah, I would love to see it. But if it doesn't happen, that's okay. I just like Fuller House. I think is really successful, regardless of how you feel about it. I think that's just what a lot of people are looking at and saying, hey, you know, we can take this and run with it and bring back things that people like. But Friends would be Friends would not work, I don't think, anymore. Like they're all too, some of them are like hyper famous. Like it would be so expensive to get some of those people to be back on the show to do just like a television show. So yep, well, here's hoping they do Frasier and they bring David Hyde Pierce back as Niles, because I freaking love Niles and I love Frasier, and that'd be great. Anyway, moving on, we're gonna start talking about Comic-Con. Let's start talking about some trailers that came out of here. Yes, we did have a new trailer for Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but I know we're not the biggest Star Wars necessarily. Like, I know Joe's not, he doesn't care too much about this. It's just 12 more episodes, I think, continuation of the animated show that they had back on a few years ago on Cartoon Network. That will be exclusive to the Disney streaming service, which I think has a horrible name like Disney Direct to Customer. I kind of want to call it like Disney Deluxe or something. Like they got to call it something else, like Amazon Prime Video is like Prime Video now. Don't call it like Disney Direct. Like don't change that, guys.
Disney Flicks.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was
Disney
like,
Flicks.
Is Diz Flicks? Is that?
That sounds too dirty.
Yeah, I know. There's like you can't do the Diz with anything or Diz streaming or
kids
like
watching that Diz Flicks. Like, no, I'm not. Like,
oh, time to turn on the Diz Flicks. Oh man, like, but Diz streaming doesn't sound very good either. Like it just can't.
Don't try and shorten Disney. Just don't do it.
Disney Flicks.
yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
fine.
I don't know.
I just can't imagine like some dad being like, "Hey, let's turn on the Diz." Like,
I would love a commercial that was turn on the Diz. Just call it the Diz. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I want to talk about a few trailers this week. One that you might kind of see coming here, but let's start off with the one that I think might be potentially not even the most divisive, but probably the most horrible. Yes, that's right. I'm giving you an opinion before we even start talking about it. The Titans trailer for the DC streaming service. They're going to have a television show based on the Teen Titans, or Titans, that will be dark, gritty, and Robin likes to swear about Batman for some reason. Joe, I know you just watched this trailer, so I want your hot take.
Yeah, well, first of all, this week's episode brought to you by Canada Dry Ginger Ale.
Hashtag not sponsored.
No, I just watched it before we started. It seemed appealing for the most part, but I'll tell you the one thing that stood out to me is kind of there's not a maturity level there. I mean, it should be rated M for mature because of strong violence, language, blood and gore, that sort of thing. But I think it's missing some maturity in that the dialogue is not well done. It goes for that kind of bad brooding type of deal and kind of badass and dark and scary, even ominous, all those good juicy words. But then they try and mix in some badass dialogue that falls flat because they make it cheesy. Yeah. Sometimes when I feel the darkness, I kind of like it.
Very true. Yeah.
Wrote that shit. Yeah. So, but it does. The look of it is kind of cool. Robin didn't do a whole lot for me, but it is pretty realistic. Grounded, I guess you would say. But in the girl, I don't know what her character is supposed to be, but she seemed pretty cool. She's
Oh,
the
Raven.
witchy Raven one. Yeah, she seemed pretty cool. I thought casting looked pretty good. The Beast Boy, I just have never quite gotten on that train. The only other exposure to that is the cartoon, right? Teen Titans.
Yeah. Also, like Young Justice a little bit with some of these guys, but mostly that and the comics, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be something that I'd like to get a little taste of and check it out and see how I like it. If it jives, it jives. But at this point, a little early to tell. I think I'd like to get one episode in and then give it a fair chance. So,
Sure.
but yeah, visually had a good look. The writing, I think that's something left to be desired a little bit. But this is only a small taste, so you can't judge it too harshly quite yet.
Oh, excellent. Levi, would you care to share your thoughts? Yeah.
No, I know that the set photos were leaked a couple weeks ago, and I saw them and I was like, man, that does not look good. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, man, that does not look good. This is a prime example of just not leaving well enough alone. I want my old Teen Titans back. I mean, I'm okay with change, but I just saw the freaking trailer for Teen Titans Go. Are you Deadpool? Like, shut up. Just stupid writing, stupid jokes. Like, Teen Titans Go does not jive with me. Neither does this trailer. Like, fuck Batman. No, fuck you for remaking this goddamn show into another spin-off that we don't need. Like,
Sure.
fuck out of here.
I love it.
Passionate. I miss Teen Titans.
I do too.
I loved Teen Titans. See, really, I really did.
Yeah, I respect that. And I was right there too. I forgot to mention Teen Titans Go. Thank you, Levi, because it's weird because we have that on one end of the spectrum and then this new Titan show on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, utilizing the same characters for the most part. So yeah, I loved that old cartoon because it actually, I think Joe, you probably would have enjoyed some of it too, because there's a lot of really good, dark, scary, weird episodes in there, along with a lot of like lighthearted and funny ones as well. But this one feels like it wants to be in the Arrowverse, like for Arrow and Flash and all that, but it wants to be like a step further than what Arrow is right now, which is kind of weird to me. And I get because it'll be on the DC streaming universe that they can make it mature and they can swear and there can be blood and all this stuff to a higher degree. It just feels kind of out of place. It's just weird to take this group and do that. I would rather honestly see like Arrow go to this point a little bit more and be like Oliver Queen's just like, like, he's finally lost it. But yeah, I don't know. Some of the characters also, you could tell there's a TV budget. They have a lot of weird, crappy sound effects in this, like when he throws his little R at the wall, or like when Raven attacks somebody, it's like that weird monstery noise. It feels weirdly low budget, kind of, in some places. Like Starfire also doesn't. I think Starfire's she's an alien, right? But she looks like she's just not.
I don't know if that's because they're going for more of like a campy kind of feel. So they're trying to do like the low budget campy kind of vibe, but it's not working.
Yeah, also it would have been nice to have seen a Beast Boy transformation. We see him like jump off a building or something and he's all like, and I'm like, can you show me what that looks like? Because that makes me really nervous to be like, we're not going to show what would possibly be the most difficult character to morph into like a hippo. Like you'd be like, I want to see something weird. But like, if you have a character on your team that could do that, it's so hard to make it gritty. Like, does he only turn into gritty? He's creepy animals. He's like, yeah, I'm a python. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I can never be like a little bunny rabbit or something. Like, would they ever do that? Just, I don't know.
I think we were talking about this too, but this is starting to look a lot like Marvel's, what was it called? What was it called?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's Inhumans again. It's Inhumans Strikes again. It's part 2. I wonder if
we see any advertisements for like IMAX, they just shut it down.
No way. But we're excited to announce the Titans' first 2 episodes will be premiering in IMAX. Like, I'd rather you not. Yeah, dude, that's a really good call, Levi. So yeah, I don't think we have too much more to say on that. I want to know what other people think about all these trailers. Please let us know in the comments. But I just am kind of, for me, we'll see. Plus, it's on that streaming service, so.
I was going to say, not to be overly critical. It's just passionate about something that was once pure and good,
Yeah.
turning it into this.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and now it's just completely crazy. Oh well, yeah. Let's move on though to something I'm really excited about, and I actually did a big video about it. You should check out right up here. Check it out, share it with your friends. I want to talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Look at that; it's even on my shirt. Thank goodness. Well, let's talk about this trailer, boys. Levi, I want you to go first. Joe went first last time. Levi, please tell me how you feel about this trailer and why is it amazing.
So, I really like the trailer. I thought it really set a cool tone for the film. It's got really cool effects, and the humans, I like the direction they're taking this time around. I mean, we're just seeing little snippets of it, but I like the female lead. I don't know what her name is. I can't think of it right off the bat, but I like her. I've seen her and stuff before, and the monsters look cool. Godzilla right away is just hyper beaming the sky, and Mothra, beautiful shot of it's like raising its wings, and it looks good. Yeah, it looks really good.
So I'll be there. Joe, how about you, man? I know we saw Godzilla, and I kind of put that in that little video I made about like seeing it with you in IMAX back in 2014. Now watching this, how do you feel?
Well, first off, I won't do IMAX again ever since I saw Infinity War at IMAX.
It was a bad experience. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm just kind of over the whole shoulder to shoulder, upright the whole time, packed house, everybody's hot breath and body heat.
That's mostly me. I mean, when this stuff was happening,
are you sure you guys were at an IMAX movie? Like, what else were you doing?
It was, the sound is one thing, but I feel like the standard theaters got it going just as good. But yeah, I don't know. In the 3D glasses, I'm pretty much I've hit the point where I'm pretty much over that. Anywho, so to the point, Godzilla, King of Monsters. Looks pretty cool. I agree with what Levi said. You get a lot of nice little teasers, mostly silhouettes of the monsters we're going to see. The visual quality looks amazing, as I expect from Godzilla. The previous one, the first one of this reboot series, was very well done. Excuse me, I got a little ginger ale burp.
Are not sponsors.
I mean, there's not much more to it other than we want more Godzilla. We want to see the monsters a little more. We saw a lot of the bad monsters in the first one. I forget what they were called.
The Muto or Muto.
Yeah, the Muto. So, I'm hoping we get a little bit more of the G-Man. But last time, it was a big gripe that we didn't care about the human characters. The human characters were stupid. Take them or leave them. Why are we even putting them in front of the camera? Well, yeah, okay, sure. I agree. This one, I think the casting is better. I like the guy. God, he's from like the Underworld trilogy. Mm-hmm. What else has he been in? Oh, what's his name? He was in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember what his actual name is, but
yes, I know who you're talking about. The guy who's like, "Long live the king."
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's a cool guy and a very good actor, and perfect for certain roles. Then I don't care much for the little girl. The girl who plays 11 in Stranger Things. Yeah. I'm just like, first of all, Stranger Things, I don't really, whatever.
I love it. It's such a hot take. It's so good.
Dude, I quit watching. I lost interest so quickly. I was just like, so Samwise Gamgee is in here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Did you start on the second season?
No. Okay. I made it to the second season, but I stopped like 3 episodes in. And I was like, when's he going to meet up with Frodo to take the ring to Mordor? Dang it. No, I got a little bored on it. I mean, I'm sure she's fine and all. I haven't seen her acting chops yet. All she's done is, scream and bleed from the nose. But
the next domestic abuse.
This is the best podcast we've ever shot.
I second that though, Joe. Like I did quit a few episodes into Stranger Things as well. Sorry.
I had to push through myself.
There you go, Jimmy.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Levi.
Back it up. I love it. No, it's
so
good.
All right. So next, another character who immediately caught my eye, stood out, and I thought was a very good move on their part is, gosh, I know his name. I want to say it's not John in real life. That was
Chandler.
a from.
What is it? I know you're talking. We should have looked this up before we started.
You know what? Give the elevator music.
I mean, it's the guy from Bloodline and
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. He was in that The Next Day newspaper show where he's going to be a hero today because bad things happen tomorrow, kind of thing. He had a cat, which kind of a deal.
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. Okay, see, that's right.
Amazing. I'm happy to see him in this movie. I think he's a passionate actor. He's he has just depth to him. I think he does a really, really good job in whatever he does. Friday Night Lights, he was excellent. Bloodline, he was excellent.
He's so good at performing that I watched, is it 3 seasons of Bloodline? And there's just 2 of him just being constantly stressed out, and he's that good at doing it that you're just I can't stop watching
really
you.
Thought he was gonna have a heart attack, and he did in the show. Spoiler alert! But he does an excellent job, and even when when he has to do those just kind of close up, he's thinking shots, or he's sitting in his truck and he's just freaking smoking a cigarette. I mean, the intensity he brings to it and the realism, like you're all in. You buy into what he's selling,
Oh, for sure, yeah, totally.
And in Friday Night Lights, the same. He's just an excellent actor, and I think he's good at drawing out emotion from the viewers as well as showing his own through his method. But so him being in it, I'm already buying a ticket. That right there, the fact that you have to have some sort of human tangible piece to a movie like this regardless. I don't think that you can really make it a good quality film for worldwide sales and not have some sort of human connection. So him being a focal point, I'm really all for that. Anybody else I didn't take too much notice on, but that was the prime right there. So otherwise, yeah, same old. I expected the visual quality and all that, and I'm excited for it. I really am. And we all know that Godzilla roar and the little warble at the end. Oh yeah.
Magic, majestic. I remember I had
iconic.
My kind of a little backstory here. When I was growing up, I would have my mom trace and draw kind of sketches of the kaiju, as it were, off the VHS boxes for my Godzilla films. And so she would draw Space Godzilla and stuff for me. And I'll never, I had her listen to the new Godzilla sound recently, and she was like, chills. She's like, it's so good. And I'm like, isn't it though? Because you it just is so abrupt and crazy, and it just hits you. And then it's just and then it's just that little bit at the end, which is such a callback to that original Godzilla. It's like, I love it so much. What I wanted to propose to you guys in future Godzilla films, they'll never do this, but I thought it'd be cool if you moved from family to family or group of people to group of people that were going through the chaos of whatever village or city that Godzilla was fighting in. And some of them survived, some of them didn't, and then it would cut to another family. It was just it was about the masses dealing with this destruction as opposed to having just the one pivotal family. But they got to have their pivotal family, which it seems like in this case is going to be Kyle, 11, and the mom, who I don't know if they're probably divorced or something at this point, but the mom is in that whole kind of camp of let's bring the kaiju back. And I think she might be the one who helps release Rodan, who's that kind of Pteranodon pterodactyl
type. What are the
type.
kaiju?
They're the big monsters, just the monsters.
That's the formal name.
Yeah, kind of. But monsters. So I don't know if she's going to be the one. That's why they're calling her a monster. She's helping release all of them to fight each other. Or typically in the past, King Ghidorah is that 3-headed dragon you see at the very end, and you also see it in the ice Megatron style. Typically comes from space, so I don't know if it's it will crash in a comet and then they're going to find it, or if it's always been there, and then Godzilla's it's basically signaling when it's using that atomic breath to be let's go. Who's the king? And so when that guy says, long live the king, could be talking about my boy Godzilla, could be a fan of King Ghidorah, this guy. Who knows? All I know is that, like, it's
I
gonna
got
be
chills when you said that. Long live the king, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, man.
I like that writing.
Long live the king. Scar stuff up in there, baby. Some Lion King.
Jimmy, would you prefer just a monster film like this with no humans? And
I don't know if
monsters?
I don't know if you could do it, because would you like do it from Godzilla's like point of view? Like,
it's just a pure action flick.
I don't know.
No dialogue. It's just all monsters.
If they're just fighting for 2 hours.
The first movie that they'd ever do.
If they did that fighting for like 2 hours, I'm not sure. Because I remember as a kid, I just fast forward through all of the human parts because they were like nonsensical, crazy, like alien people they were like apes that turned themselves to look like humans, and if you kill them, they turn back into apes or bug people. And I was like, I don't care about this as a kid. Yeah, if you watch the old Godzilla movies, the plots for the humans are ridiculous.
Jimmy's confusing Power Rangers.
No, it's all there, baby. Yeah, I don't know if you could do a full movie like that. I would love like Godzilla to be the protagonist, which he has become more and more so. I just don't know unless you did subtitles or something, because you'd want to know what it's thinking.
I mean, it would have the same buildup. Like, you would still see like smaller events happen, and then, humanity's like gone. Like, it's already like destroyed.
Shit, that'd be sick. I don't know. Would that be too much? I'm thinking like Apocalypse. I'm like, well, that would be kind of cool if Godzilla's like, oh, I guess I didn't really protect him.
What I kind of like, though, is that they use the humans to they're like the pathway to kind of explain how and why or where it came from or what's happening.
We're like supposed to be the humans. It's like Jurassic Park, where it's like we are supposed to be those characters so we can feel like we're part of it. So when they're like, oh my gosh, and then they cut to like Godzilla, we can be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
so
theory of relativity, you got to relate.
Yeah, I get that. I guess I wouldn't necessarily need a full... If they did come out with that, though, and they had this level of, like, how cool this is, and a flippin' respect for your characters. Yeah, they showed Godzilla, but we've seen Godzilla before. These other three, we've only gotten brief clipses, silhouettes, in shadows, in dust. You barely see them, and I freaking love it. It's like, hey, man, you want to come see this? You gotta pay. I'm like, yes, that's how it should be. It's like, you don't have to sell me anymore. Who else would want to see, like, what else do you need to see from this trailer and this movie to go see it? Like, what else is there?
They should even come out with trailer 2, 3, and 4. I think they should leave it here and call
it. Bring this one out again in, like, April when it's about to come out, and just change the dates on it and be like, there you go. That's all you need. That's all I need. Like, seriously. Yeah. And, oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm so excited. I really wanted to go watch Godzilla 2014, but, like, maybe I should save it. Because, like, Bryan Cranston was so good, and they better not do the same thing they did with him in this one to Kyle Chandler in this one. Otherwise, I will be furious. I'll be like, what? Like, why do you get these actors and not use them?
So I like how they bring a little mythology into it. And again, I think it's appropriate to have the humans involved. They kind of, they're exploring and find these ancient ruins of, ancient civilizations that worshipped Godzilla or the kaiju. Yada yada. I think that's kind of neat and kind of intriguing, and I think adds a little. It just adds more depth to the whole thing as opposed to we just had big monsters coming out of the ground killing things.
Yep.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I love that, and that's like Ken Watanabe part, like he's underwater and he's looking at these cool ruins and stuff, and I absolutely love that, Joe, because it kind of makes like the people feel even smaller, because not only are these things like massive and there's nothing you can do to stop them, but they like kind of supersede all your politics or religion. They don't care about any of that, and like they will wipe everybody out even if they're not trying to. And there's something, and that's why like everyone in that past or whatever like worship them as gods, because they are like living deities. I mean, there's like how tall, just crushing everything. Like who wouldn't you pray to that thing to be like, Godzilla, please don't kill us tonight, thank you very much. Like that's you could see why maybe tribalistic groups would like bow down to these massive monsters. It's like, yes, that's so cool. Like show me a shot of that, man. Like just cut back to like the Aztecs and stuff, and they're just like bound to Godzilla. Godzilla's like, yes, like adorned. Like it'd be weird if he was like adorned with feathers and gold and stuff. And Godzilla's like, yes, the high life.
I was waiting for Jason Statham to like peek over Watanabe's shoulder and be like, it's a goddamn megalodon.
Yeah. The crossover event we've all wanted. Yeah, I actually watched a really cool little interview that IGN did with the director and some of the cast, which, by the way, you only get a brief shot of this guy, but the guy who's in charge of like the army stuff, like kind of has a beard and he's in it for just like 1 second. He's a huge Godzilla nerd, and hearing him talk about Gigan, who's an old deep cut from the like Godzilla universe, was so cool because you could tell that this guy was like, he was so excited to just be in this movie. He was like, I'm a Godzilla fan. I freaking love Godzilla. And I was like, it's really cool. But the director had said they've confirmed that not only will there be 4 big monsters, but there's probably more than that, which I still take to mean maybe Mothra's kids or maybe a tease of King Kong at the very end.
Yeah, I like that. And that other video that you did, the critical intelligence, which people should check out, it's pretty good. I like, you kind of talk about some of the other potentials. It would be cool, if they add to some of the mythology or they provide some sort of teasers for locations or still sleeping giants, so to speak.
Yeah.
To kind of add to the, feeling of it. There's longevity in this whole trilogy, or not trilogy, but series, if you will. What do you want to call it?
Yep. Yeah. Or just a continuation of this kind of shared universe. Yeah. Universe building. But I think finally I kind of understand some people when they talk about like the Resident Evil 2 remake and how they've always seen it and now it's going to be. This is like what Godzilla was for me as a kid. And like seeing those fights and thinking, nowadays, holy crap, like they're actually going to make this like and make it look like it's really happening, not just 2 dudes in a suit on a sound set. I'm like it is incredible to me that this is actually happening. The King Kong vs. Godzilla is coming, and then there could be even more of this stuff afterwards. Like, it's amazing. It's so nuts to me. I love it. Just keep it going for as long as you can, guys. Just bring in every monster. Mechagodzilla, Anguirus, Gigan, bring them all in, baby. Yeah, well, it seems like we kind of like, I mean, I'm gushing over it, but you guys seem to like this one a lot too, which is good. Now, I want to switch gears here because unless you guys have anything else you want to say about Godzilla, any other closing thoughts? Joe, Levi?
Bring it on.
Okay, next one. I want to talk about one that stars maybe Joe's favorite person on the planet, Mr. Jason Momoa. We got our first look at Aquaman, which we talked about the poster last week, which I thought the poster was kind of bland, but or not that great, but this trailer maybe not so bland. Let's see, we started off with Levi last time. Joe, it's your turn to start. Aquaman, thoughts?
I just want to see more of him, drinking out of a whiskey bottle, walking down a break wall in waves and slamming it on the ground.
Aboard.
All the while playing Icky Thump. But no, I am a really big Jason Momoa fan. This movie is like it could be a big letdown or it could be really awesome. That sounds like a stupid statement, but it's one of those that it's teetering a fine line. And right now, I don't think we know enough to know whether it will be, the good or the bad. I just, I do get that feeling of it's a little fantastical, almost too much so. Like I get the vibe, like I still get the whole Justice League, DC Universe vibe, but I also get a little bit of that, like, what was that movie that totally bombed with, oh God, what's her name? Mila Kunis and
oh my God, you're talking about Jupiter Ascending?
Yeah, for some reason, for a split second, like when they're going underwater in that submarine thing, I get that vibe, and I'm like, no, hold on.
I got like a Pandora vibe from like Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that too. It's just a little too much for me. I think the underwater realm that they create. Whereas in Justice League, I thought it was okay. It wasn't too over the top, too bright and crazy. But here I just get a little bit of that standoffish, like, that looks like a little much there, guys. Cool it with the computers, huh?
Joe, I need to add something to your Jupiter Ascending comment. If you guys haven't seen it, James Corden has this little show where he like makes celebrities either answer a really important question or eat something really weird, like a cow's tongue or something. And he's got this table, and he was on Mila Kunis, and he was like, okay, you either get to tell me the plot of Jupiter Ascension, or Jupiter, whatever it's called, or you can eat the cow's tongue. And she was like, she went for the cow's tongue because she couldn't explain the plot of Jupiter.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'll have to send you guys the clip. It's so good.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Poor Emil. Yeah, not a great film.
No.
But besides that look of it, Joe, because it kind of has to be fantastical, because it's like an underwater city that's like real, right?
Yeah.
Right?
But that Justice League vibe I got when he went down there for that moment, I guess you would call it. I felt like it was very appropriately styled. It wasn't too in your face, like you just drove down Times Square in New York at 12 o'clock at night when it's all lit up and in your face, or the Las Vegas Strip. So I don't know. I think it could be fine. That was just one little thing I picked out. I still think Momoa brings the typical, what we've already kind of established Aquaman to be like. I think they're doing a good job. They're doing the single character justice of what had happened to get him to where he is, and then they really hone in on the current here and now. Some of the creatures, like I feel like I'm gonna start to lose interest when I'm seeing all these crazy underwater creatures with saddles on them and stuff. And
yeah, dude, that's great.
No, I get that they can they don't talk to the fish. They just have a feel or whatever and all that. And
like a horse.
Sonar.
Yeah,
how dare they?
I got a great white here. First of all, they better be anatomically correct as all get out. And if I start seeing weird creatures like this swimming crocodile thing.
Yes, amazing. It's going to happen, man. You're going to see a lot of those. You're going to see way more. You're going to see something that really bothers you. You're going to be like,
I am. I know I'm going to lose it when I start to see all these animals that they're riding around. And
did someone promise you they're like, oh, these will be very naturalistic creatures in Aquaman? Joe's like, somebody lied to me. They said they'd only have dolphins.
I'm going to have the aquarium set piece where hey, Arthur's talking to fish again. That was kind of cool, and the shark slams the glass. That's neat. But then in the next scene, they're going to show him riding the shark around in the aquarium. Well, that won't be too bad. I was
like, I missed that.
Listen, I'm going to see a team of freaking great whites, and they're going to put a big old fat belly on them, like Bruce from Finding Nemo.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm calling it, man. They're going to look like Bruce from Finding Nemo. And next thing you know, they're going to nod and stuff and talk.
No, I think they'll look the same for some of these, and they might nod and stuff, but I don't think they'll give them like a paunch belly that pulls up. It's like, oh no.
Listen, I've been watching Shark Week all week, and great whites. If I see these sharks, they better look freaking legit, 47 meters down legit, because that movie sucked. It didn't suck. It was actually not too bad. But the design, the CG, the sharks looked legit, and they better hone in on that for this movie. Whatever the one guy's riding, they show it kind of. There's some crab. What's the parasite Pokemon or the
like a Paris?
Parasite. Yeah, there's some crab creature down there. All of a sudden, there's crocodilian prehistoric dinosaur creature or Mosasaurus.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it is.
Oh,
comes flying in and just, and I don't know. We'll have to see, but to a certain point, when they start to get away from reality so much, I'm gonna probably just lose it.
Excellent.
But thus far, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty movie. That's a nice title, by the way. It's a clean, nice title they got there, huh? White and looks blue and.
I don't remember that part.
That's okay. Don't you worry about it. Well, Joe's got mixed emotions on this. I really didn't think this would bring.
I do, man. I do. I'm excited for it, but I'm nervous.
You'd see anything Momoa's in, though.
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
I think I have seen anything he's been in.
Yeah.
I'd have a pint of Guinness with the guy.
Levi, moving on to your thoughts on this trailer as before Joe gets into what would be a perfect night between him and Mr. Momoa.
Do
Levi,
I have to hold back at all?
No, don't hold back. Please don't. Did you hear
This
what Joe's
trailer has more trash in it than the ocean that this fucking movie is based on. Okay.
That's a lot of trash.
It's a lot of trash.
Yeah, it's really sad. There's a lot of trash.
Did not like this trailer.
Oh.
I did like Jason Momoa's character as the bro-y person he is in Justice League. I do like the Iggy Thump scene. Yes, it was cool. Not enough to save this fucking pile of trash, okay? Like, the CG was god awful.
Oh.
That aquarium scene was ripped right out of fucking Harry Potter. Okay.
Yeah.
The redhead the Ariel Little Mermaid redhead side character. Where the fuck did she come from?
She was in Justice League.
No, I don't care. Get out of here. like this trailer was so bad, you guys. Like the acting, and there's just like, mind if I cut in and come aboard? Like, no.
Permission to come aboard?
Yeah.
And they're just like,
permission to cancel this movie. I'm sorry. I'm not about it. No.
Cool. Was there anything that you liked?
Sea creature? No, the sea creatures were dumb. That crocodile thing. Why? What is that?
That's the Loch Ness Monster, man. We've been searching for years.
There's no freaking Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, I know.
And we've got the team of Great White, like you said, and they're going to be ridden on like Jurassic Park again, and and then like the scene with the Coliseum, and then like the wave backlash, and they're like, "Oh, that was crazy!" Like it's just water. Like,
yeah, interesting.
No.
This is not the response I was expecting.
No, I thought it was terrible.
Words much better than I could.
I'm sorry.
I just seemed exasperated. You at least kind of really honed in.
I'm just tired of garbage, you know.
I love this show. This is so good. You boys are coming alive over an Aquaman trailer, and it's great. I didn't think it was that bad, but I love hearing that you guys like hated it.
And the thumbnail for this needs to be like a meme of like all the trash in the ocean. Couldn't say.
Oh my gosh, Aquaman.
Yeah, like a bunch of bottles all dirty and dingy floating, a turtle and like a 6-pack can ring, you know, and it smells out Aquaman.
For real, to some of my thoughts, bad CG, bad writing, bad humor, bad character casting, bad settings.
Except for Momoa.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
He said except for Momoa, and I said, "Are we reviewing the movie?"
Yeah, I like Momoa. Honestly, I really do because I really liked him in Game of Thrones. I'm a fan of Jason. It's not his fault. It's just not his fault.
No.
I think
the trident thing, the catching the trident thing. Like, how many movies do you have to rip these like from to make all these like?
Sure.
For the trailer. Sorry. Go, Jimmy.
No, oh yeah, no, it's fine. I don't want to stop you.
I'm going to keep ranting.
Here, take the keys, Jimmy. Your turn to drive.
Cool, thanks everybody. Well, I guess I don't have to say anything bad about this.
Ocean.
You guys, we're hoping it's a duck boat. Maybe I can make this work. So, yeah, I guess I don't need to say anything bad about it. You guys kind of covered it. A few things I'll say that were kind of interesting. It does feel like a mishmash of like Avatar meets kind of like Aragorn's story from Lord of the Rings, the whole kind of if you need to take your rightful place as king, and he's like, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. You know, like it's kind of that. Even with the whole trident thing, which apparently that's like the one he's got is it a quindent, the 5-prong one, because he doesn't have Poseidon's trident yet. I think Orn, his brother, has it. But you have Orn, I think his name is, who I don't really care about, but Black Manta I think looks really good. He's like comic accurate, like the big bug eyes, the laser beam stuff.
For some reason in the trailer, I kind of I don't glaze over that. I didn't.
He looks great. Look up an image of him. He looks wonderful. And another thing,
and he's African American, right? And he's like a half brother or something.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna go at that angle. Still, they might, but it looks like he might be more like a pirate in this. There might be also multiple Black Mantas. I don't know. Another thing, though, that I thought was kind of cool is that James Wan, known for doing like horror films, and there's going to be like the 5th or 7th kingdom under the sea, which is like the deep trench people. And there's that moment where a bunch of things are attacking the ship and they kind of like take a flare and go down in the water. So there might be like kind of a horror scene in this movie, kind of like a scary moment, which I think is cool.
I forgot to mention, I kind of like that where he has that flare pack and he jumps in the water and you see that horde of those deep sea creatures just like swarming. Like there will be some suspense to this movie. Don't get me wrong. I smiled during the trailer. There are some cool parts to this, but Levi had a lot of good points.
Yep.
I just couldn't put it into words.
I just made a list of 4 movies off the bat who I think that like this trailer ripped off of. I got Harry Potter, I got Gladiator, got Little Mermaid, and I've got Jurassic Park. Any others to the list?
I mean, Avatar,
Titanic. We're on submarines.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, what else was I gonna say about it? Yeah, I think there's a lot going on in this movie. We still haven't seen Willem Dafoe, who is going to be like his mentor, like the guy that is teaching him when he's a kid. So when he catches it, like I think his mentor, like Willem Dafoe, is doing that. So the Green Goblin, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, back in the day. We also have like a pretty good cast that we haven't really gotten to. It just seems like there's a lot in this trailer, and they have to do a lot. But it was nice that we finally got to see it. That's all I want to say. Like, it could be worse, I think. I just don't know how you make this like a dark, gritty, realistic place. Like, I just don't think you make Atlantis that. And I'm cool with the big monsters. I'm excited about watching that battle sequence. I didn't think we'd get a huge like civil war in Aquaman, but we're gonna get that. I'm like, cool. Like, have them fight. Let's do it. I like a fantastical war scene. So I'm cautiously optimistic for it, but it doesn't seem like I am in a boat with other people. I'm alone in this boat, and it is sinking.
No, I'm holding on to the rim of the boat, trying to get back in. We'll have to see.
And Levi's just stabbing the bottom of it.
Yeah, Levi's freaking standing in it with a gun, shooting holes in the bottom.
Yes, there's just so many nautical jokes I get to make during the release of this like press run for this movie. Like, like nobody can save Aquaman like the ship that's sinking in the ocean is based in. There's a lot of stuff I can come up with. Okay,
you know what's a little weird is the CG when Momoa's like acting underwater, or the underwater scenes. It's a little like they can't do the detail on the hair. It just looks. I mean, maybe it's accurate, but it's just cloudy and like wispy.
They did that
weird.
in Harry Potter too. Yeah.
They do.
Warner Brothers, they do what they can.
Yeah, it's odd to look at, but if you buy it, you buy it. But
we'll see. The other one I do want to talk about here for just a little bit.
They're odd to look at.
I want to talk about Shazam. Now, the trailer for that, definitely DC's kind of weekend because Marvel wasn't really there to play ball very much. Levi, initial impressions talking about a movie trailer that a lot of people are like, oh, it's just ripping off these other movies and other trailers. What do you think about Shazam?
So initially, I remember messaging you that it was trash. But after watching it again, I think it's actually going to be kind of funny. But what I'm nervous about is couple things. I don't think that DC has established to make these side character movies yet. They're not as established like Marvel is to do an Ant-Man, and that's what they're doing right now with Shazam. Sure. Nobody knows who Shazam is, unless you're like a diehard DC fan. Nobody cares who Shazam is. I think it's funny. It looks like it's going to be a really like kind of upbeat, kind of lighthearted DC film. I'm interested. The casting is interesting, and I like the kid characters, and we'll see. But
Joe, how about you? How do you feel about Shazam?
For some reason, I've seen a lot of media on this actually, and I feel like the casting's pretty good, and I feel like this will be DC's toss in the ring for the comedic relief.
Yeah.
And I think it'll give you kind of that Ant-Man vibe with maybe, probably more of that Ant-Man vibe, So, is it like that epic one that you just have to see, or that iconic one that was like, it's been on your list at right near the top forever? Probably not. But,
I mean, looking looking back on like the collection of DC films that we're gonna have someday for this universe, are we really gonna be happy that Shazam and Wonder Woman are the best from this whole collection? Everything else was just garbage.
I mean, I liked Man of Steel.
I do too.
No, you didn't. You didn't, Jimmy.
I did. Yeah.
You did not like the 3-hour intro. That was the length of Lord of the Rings.
I love that fight because not only does it just escalate as Zod learns his stuff, I love that there's so much carnage. Because guess what, people? People are like, oh my god, Superman. Superman is out of his hands. It's not like he'd be like, hey, Zod, can we go fight in like the desert, please? Zod's like, I'm going to start killing everybody. And I'm like, yes, do that. Make them fight through the buildings.
I think the best thing about Man of Steel was them ripping off the Lord of the Rings song for the theme for their trailer. I think that was the best thing. No, I didn't hate Man of Steel. I didn't hate it. I actually really, I'm going to be honest, since we're talking about Justice League in this universe, I do like the actress that they chose to play Clark's mom.
Sure.
I do like her.
Yeah.
I think she does a good Martha. Okay. I liked her in Justice League. I feel like she really grounded that movie and made it emotional.
Speaking of grounding, one thing I do like about this trailer for Shazam is it does take place, it seems like, in the real world, which a lot of these other DC movies don't seem like they do.
Mm-hmm.
How are they approaching that? Like, is New York City a place?
So yes, typically in these universes, like with Marvel and this one too, I think this one takes place in Philadelphia, but also cities like Gotham and Metropolis exist.
Yeah, so like Gotham is in the East Coast, and Metropolis is like St. Louis near Kansas.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like that. It definitely has a jokier tone, and I'm interested to see how he will play in the Justice League moving forward, because initially that was kind of more Aquaman and Flash's role is to kind of be more of like the comedic relief, but it seems like Shazam, you know, being a kid, and I think that's the most interesting fact about this character is that he's a 10-year-old that just turns into a superhero when he says a certain word, and I think that's kind of fun in and of itself as a film, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm a 10-year-old kid who just like got all these superpowers.
Exactly, and I don't think you'll look down on the comedy so critically, because when it happens with him, it'll seem appropriate, or his screw-ups are understandable, you know?
For sure, yeah, and I like that he's like, you know, he's talking to people with a bunch of candy and stuff. He's like, yeah, I'm a superhero, you know? Like, that's what a 10-year-old who would have superpowers and looks like that now would be like, just gotta show it out, be like, yeah, I'm a superhero, whatever, it's my first day.
Yeah, the look of him is very like
comic booky.
Yeah, like it's bright. Yeah. It's like it almost looks like it's a guy going to Comic-Con with some pillows stuffed in his suit.
It does kind of have that vibe. Yeah.
And kind of a TV straight to film. Or straight to TV. What am I? Straight to video. Whatever kind of straight to video kind of budget-esque.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's on purpose to make him seem like just so ripped and bulky and muscular, like even more than probably the guy playing him is, just to be like, all right, you have to be strong and muscular, but we're also going to add on to you to make you look even just like, I am the biggest, strongest hero, you know, as a 10-year-old kid.
Well, you know, they do that, like the suits that they make for those guys, even Henry Cavill, who is like jacked out of his mind. They actually have it's like a plated suit. It has like forms in it that actually do, you know, make it stand out a lot. It's not actually, it's mostly his physique, but not all. You know, it kind of accentuates things, you know, with the breastises and the bicepses.
I think what's kind of disappointing is that we're supposed to be really getting into the meat of the Justice League, and like you never really see Shazam in the Justice League.
Well, he's become more of a bigger player moving forward, because believe it or not, back in the day he used to be named Captain Marvel way back, but he's become a major player in that he has almost the same powers as Superman, but he's got some magic to him as well, but he doesn't have like infinite strength. So I think it's an interesting character to inject into this, and they have been using him more and more because he's more lighthearted, and it's kind of like the true fantasy of any little kid who's gonna like read a comic book to be like, yeah, cool. And then there's a really fun dynamic there because there's been hints, and in the comics this has happened where Superman finds out, talks to the guy who gave him his magical powers. And he's like, he like finds out that he's a 10-year-old kid. He's like, you gave this kid, like this 10-year-old kid, powers? And he's like, he was chosen. And he's like, you're out of your mind. It's a 10-year-old. I just found out he's a 10-year-old. Because, you know, like Shazam, when he's talking to people, he's just talking to, like, if he talks to Superman, he's not necessarily going to have an adult conversation necessarily. He's going to try to play it off, be like, yeah, you know me, saving people and going on dates, you know, like stuff like that. Like it'll be really good one day because they'll have that weirdness in the group. And some people will find out, some people like Batman might be like, yeah, I've known the whole time, but you do good work. So, you know, we'll take what we can get. Like, that's what I hope eventually. But I think it's going to be fun. It is definitely the Ant-Man of this collective universe, which I think is now called the Worlds of DC or something like that. That's like the premier name they came out with, I think. Yeah. Anybody back me up?
We don't even know, so it's not very official.
It's the only reason they do this is a blanket term, so that way they can still do their Joaquin Phoenix Joker standalone that has nothing to do with any of the Joker stuff we know yet, like, or all these spin-off movies. So that way they could be like,
How does DC keep like enough money for this?
Well, they just tell people they're gonna make like 20 movies, and then they make like maybe 4 of those, and then maybe not. And
they just hope that they get just enough from the box office to keep this thing going.
Yep, which is like, all right, great.
I mean, they're still making money, not as much as Marvel or Disney, but if they make money, why not keep doing it?
Exactly, and they still do well. They just don't do bonkers numbers, so you don't hear it reported as frequently as like Avengers, when they're like, Avengers broke like $2 billion or something. Yeah. And it's like Justice League did okay.
Even though you sound like a Marvel fanboy, I would be all on board if it was good.
Yeah, exactly, and that's I'm hopeful. I actually kind of watching this trailer, I'm interested in it because I think it's gonna be fun. And one of the biggest reasons I go to movies is to be entertained, and I think this movie will have a lot of fun moments. And they got Mark Strong as the bad guy, which I like him. I'm interested to see how they use him, and I would love to see a cameo from good old Superman at the end or something. Like, there's got to be that moment, you know, where they're talking, and like that's really cool. Also, I like that there's kind of some world building, like the foster kid, like in the foster home he goes to, that kid is like a huge super fan. He has like a batarang that looks like just the same as like a Batman batarang. I think he even has like a bullet that pinged off Superman. I was watching Mr. Sunday Movies Breakdown. You should check that out. But he's like, he opens up that drawer and there's like a little like bullet in a little baggie that might have pinged off. I was like, how did you get that? Like, it's got like a Wonder Woman branded T-shirt. I'm like, did the Luthor Corp make that for you? Because they made all those designs. He's like, well, we'll make designs. And it's, shut up, kill him with fire.
And he's gonna be in this too, I'm sure, somewhere.
I just still wish
he'll show up for sure.
Like, I love Joe Manganiello. Let's just make Stephen Lang Deathstroke. Can we just do that, Worlds of DC? Let's just do a standalone Deathstroke film. Make me happy, right? Yeah, that's the dream I live in. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say on Shazam? Levi, Joe, either of you?
No, I liked it. I found it somewhat wholesome. Still grounded enough.
I'd much rather go see this movie than Aquaman.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know that I'm quite to that point, but this one I don't really have too much judgment on, and it's grounded in freaking Philadelphia or whatever, Pennsylvania. So it just seems kind of cool and happy-go-lucky. Quick step back to Aquaman, by the way. I was rewatching the trailer when we first started in on Shazam. They make a great white shark growl like a dog.
I don't recall that, but I believe you.
If you go back and watch it, it's there. It's
more like a gurgle underwater, Joe. It's more like
yeah, like I've been watching Shark Week, man. Not once have I heard a shark go roar.
This is so good. I love it so much. Yeah. Well, cool. I just want to talk about those trailers, and I'm so glad. It seems like there's a lot of response, and that's good because I can tell you guys are passionate. I'm passionate about these things. I think if you guys had to pick a favorite trailer, I think we should do that quick. Levi, do you have a favorite trailer of the kind of the 4 we talked about? There was more, but
Godzilla.
Joe, how about you?
Quality-wise, Godzilla for sure. I mean, that's a well done. Keeps it mysterious, doesn't show too much.
Perfect, because guess what? I'm picking Godzilla too. I've got a little Godzilla up there, and believe it or not, I used to have a Mecha King Ghidorah. Now, back in the day, there was a King Ghidorah, and then eventually Mecha King Ghidorah with a robotic wings and a robotic middle head. Believe it or not, I won't get into it right now. That's fine. We're moving on. So, briefly, just to wrap up on all the stuff we're talking about, next week we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible Fallout. I just can't wait. I was going to talk more about Mission Impossible, but it seems like we're kind of like on the longer end of things here, but we want to give you more content, so I'll just briefly go through this. If you're planning on seeing Mission Impossible Fallout, and you haven't seen it by the time you've listened to this, the only movie you really need to watch to get caught up, if you haven't seen these films before, is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. It's the first one that we see these characters kind of continuing on, especially like the villains and some of the other players, like Levi had mentioned before, the female lead, the British spy in this one, kind of a through line for plot. Yes, we have characters like Ethan Hunt and Luther who have been in it since the very first one for the most part, but typically that stuff doesn't play as big of a role going forward. Ethan does get married in Mission Impossible 3, and that plays a little bit of a role in Ghost Protocol, which is the fourth one. Not something that is a big deal, but might play more of a role in this sixth one, Fallout. So if you want to be safe, maybe watch Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation before you see Fallout, but I don't think you have to be too worried. Even if you just walked into Fallout without having any prior knowledge, I think they'll do a pretty good job of kind of bringing you up to speed, which is good because these movies are amazing. They're like my favorite action movies of all time, and they just get crazier and crazier. Man, Tommy, I was reading like his list of worst, like craziest stunts ever. In Rogue Nation, there's this sequence where he has to hold his breath for 3 minutes. I think it's 3 minutes. They actually trained him to hold his breath for 6 minutes. And I was like, 6 minutes? He worked with a deep diver expert, and he learned to train his brain to not take a breath. 6 minutes, people.
Without passing out?
Yeah, 360 seconds. Try just counting that while you breathe. That's a long time. Like, you're just like,
yeah, no.
Like,
I'd pass out.
I'm like, and they're like, that's his most dangerous stunt. Because when you think about it, yeah, when you're like climbing a building on the side of a plane, obviously super dangerous. But like, this is a dangerous in a different, more intimate way. And I was like, 6 minutes? That guy, commitment to a role. Ah, man, just it's incredible. So when you watch that scene,
can I tell you how excited I am to see Henry Cavill in here?
Oh, I forgot that you love it. This is this is the mustache. This is why he looks so weird in Justice League.
I never noticed it in Justice League. I don't look at his lips that much.
I guess I didn't either.
He's a hottie.
When I looked at it again, I was like, I get it, but I was with you, Joe. I was like,
yeah, but like, what are people when he speaks? Do they just look at his mouth? Like, no, I didn't really pay that close attention to his mouth. That's like, I noticed the car he drives before I look at his damn mouth. Come on.
I mean, you notice every car, but
I notice every car. Hey, look, he was driving a Mercedes-Benz AMG. Anywho, like the trailer when he takes off his suit jacket and he's just like,
and they do with the music.
I was like, freaking this is like, I'm rooting for him all the way to the end. I hope everybody does with him.
Yeah, I love that bit, and it's cool to see him still be a physical presence, even when he's not Superman.
Yeah,
like you're like, oh,
he's built for it now. That role of Superman kind of set him up for things of this style, which I like. Plus, I like that he's like, I mean, let's face it. Now that he's played Superman, he's a big name, but he hasn't done so much that you're over exhausted on seeing him on a movie screen. So plus I like him as a person. I think he's very down to earth, positive person, happy go lucky kind of type. But seeing him play this kind of gruff, badass, straight face, mustache having badass. I love it. I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
that scene in the bathroom where he just freaking punches a guy through a freaking tile wall. Oh, all over it.
Levi sent me that GIF the other day of just him going just like doing like the punch thing. That's
me every morning on my way to work.
It's punching the steering wheel, just like all of us Americans do. Every morning we're just punching that horn. We're like, here we go. Going to work.
My steering wheel actually has a brake in the middle from doing that.
Oh, sure. Well, I didn't really need to report on this, but there was something in the news kind of recently. He kind of said some really stupid things. Unfortunately, Mr. Cavill did. Yeah, it was about dating and stuff. It was kind of like, you probably shouldn't say that type of stuff, but unfortunate. But anyway,
come on, give us a little snippet.
He basically said he was not interested in dating anyone who had ever been in the hashtag Me Too movement, which is a movement of people who have been sexually or physically assaulted by people. And he said he doesn't want to put himself out there and potentially get someone who's coming after him for sexually assaulting them just because they had been in this movement and had that happen before. So he's like, well, I could just go date an ex-girlfriend and know that won't be good, but know that I won't get like sued or something for it. I was like, I just wouldn't say any of this stuff. Like, maybe just don't talk about this.
You're opening yourself up to attack, but it's not like
it's just bad. I was just like,
I'm sure that runs through people's minds, whatever.
Yeah. Well, plus he's like you said, now he's become more of like a famous person, more of a household name. Maybe he's just like getting to more fame too quickly, and he's like, he doesn't want his public image to be hindered, and that's why he started talking about this. And it's just like, I'd just be like, yeah, dating's hard when you're a celebrity. That's all I would say. I just be like, it's just tough. You know, that's why celebrities date each other. Yeah. Like Taylor Swift and Tom Hiddleston. That didn't last long. You dated Loki, T Swift. How did you let him go? I'm sure there's more to it that I know. But
the best jokester, prankster in all of the realms.
Exactly. That's so great. I wonder if DC ever approached him. They're like, do you want to be a new Joker? Like, he's probably just like, no, thanks. You know what? No, thanks. It's fine with me. I don't want to do it. Okay. Well, we're obviously really excited about it. I can't wait to talk about this next week. Levi, you're also excited about it. And we're going to talk about it in just a second here. Your Mission Impossible stuff. But let's just move into that segment of the show. I like to call. Joe likes to call. Levi likes to call. We all like to call
Timekillers.
That's right, Timekillers. Games we've been playing, movies and TV shows we've been watching, all that good stuff. Levi, what have you been killing time with?
Okay, so caught up on Mission Impossible. Love it.
Wait, where did you watch? Did you watch all of them?
Yeah, not all of them. I watched Ghost Protocol and I watched Rogue Nation. I liked Ghost Protocol better. I thought Rogue Nation maybe moved on at a little bit of a slower pace.
Yeah.
I know that it had more of like a spy as to it, and I did not like the lead female character as much in Rogue Nation. But a lot of the stunts were cool again. The water scene made me nauseous.
Sure.
Just watching that freaks me out. No, they're good. I mean, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited to see this because the trailer looks so sick. And it's much easier to appreciate something like this because I know like when we were seeing the trailers before, I was like, meh. But after watching like how cool the action is in Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, I'm so excited for this.
Yeah. Well, plus you were commenting like to me while you're watching Ghost Protocol, that was amazing because you hadn't really seen this franchise before. Yeah. And then you'd watch Rogue Nation and you're like, oh yeah, that's the villain, but he's got like a beard from Rogue Nation and he's in this movie. And that's really cool for me because most of these really cool villains, they like kill and then I never see them again. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman was in 3 and he was incredible, but then they killed him off and it was like, well, you can't bring him back.
I do like that the villain was easier to follow in Rogue Nation than it was in Ghost Protocol. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm freaking My Hero Academia.
Yes, I did it.
This show is amazing. The show is awesome. These kids with these quirks, and this is a superhero show for people that are burnt out on superheroes. It's just cool. I'm really happy that you helped me find an anime that I like again. That's in the same vein as like Naruto.
Yep.
Fullmetal Alchemist, it's great. It's got a lot of heart, and I love that.
I wonder if I could get Joe to watch it. That'd be interesting. If I get Joe to watch an anime and it's this one.
Joe would appreciate it. It's definitely not your typical anime. It's yeah. And then no, I'm still playing Pokemon Go, and we're playing Divinity every other week.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. All right, Joe, how about you, man? What you been killing time with, buddy?
I have really been, I don't know, not up to too much, I guess. This past weekend, got out to the Motocross Pro National. I know not to do with movies, TV shows, games, yada yada.
I know.
But
Nobody ever listens.
Should we do a race recap real quick?
No, we don't have 2 hours, Joe.
No, I had a good time there with our buddy Drew, who we play games with often. One of the rare times I get to meet up with him and hang out. But anywho, other things I've been. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. What have I been watching?
Stranger Things season 2.
I just watched a movie lately. Hey, I was gonna ask Kaylee.
You should. You can. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Why don't you go? I gotta think of this.
Okay, that's fine.
I just watched some.
All right, I've watched a couple of movies lately because I've decided to backtrack and realize maybe these movies aren't as great as everybody talks about them. I watched Jaws. Jaws is good. It does hold up for the most part. Like I've talked to these guys about. There's some weird shots when they cut from like the actual like machine, the robot shark, to like real great white shark stuff. But that old animatronic or whatever you want to call it is incredible and straight up terrifying. Like, man, that thing, you go back and watch that movie. Also, it's very political. Like the mayor wants to keep the beaches open because if the beach is closed, like the whole town runs on summer sales and stuff. I like it. One problem I did have is the beginning. Young woman dies and she gets like dragged around. I don't know if it's like he got her foot. I was trying to think of the logistics of it because I was like, how does that even work? Anyway, still it holds up pretty well. And there's a pretty fun dynamic between the 3 guys who are hunting the shark. So Jaws, I'd recommend. I think it was on Prime Video. You can find it there. And then I watched Aliens. I went back and watched Aliens, and I thought, okay, people talk about this like one of the best action movies of all time, and like one of just like so good, one of the best sequels. I gotta say, compared to the first Alien, I wasn't really a fan. It's a lot of people screaming and shooting down a hallway, which is a lot of action movies. I admit that, but this like, there's a moment where Ripley kills 3 aliens in like a second, and to think she does that when the first movie is all about one that is like stalking the crew, like these aliens and aliens just kind of like hold tight to like a ceiling or something. You walk past them and then they start moving. Like they're not as scary. Like the Queen alien is amazing and the autoloader sequence and fight is great too. But the rest of it for me kind of falls flat. I don't know. It's fine.
This is Aliens from like what,
1980 something? Yeah, 83, 84? I don't remember. And I'm sorry, if you're a huge Aliens fan, I understand why you guys would like that, but it's just such a huge departure from the scariness of the first one. And it's not that it's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be more of like an action movie. But I just wasn't as big of a fan. And it didn't feel as tense to me. Plus, I like how they move in Covenant. Like, honestly, that's the best thing I could take away from it. How the alien moves in Covenant is truly terrifying, and in this one, it's nothing like that. It's a bunch of just dudes in little costumes. So, the 80s, baby. The other thing, Joe and I have been playing this with Drew, and I want Levi to join us. Warhammer Vermintide 2, heck of a game. If you liked Left 4 Dead, if you like killing rat men, if you like blowing stuff up, shooting things, like cutting things in half with a sword or an axe, or beating them to death with a hammer, this is the game for you. And it will kick your butt at first if you don't have the co-op and just like the team mentality. You're gonna have a hard time to start, even on like the easiest difficulty. Like the first night we played, Joe and Drew and I got wiped at like once or twice, I think, and we're like, "Yep, we can't really be a hero. You can't be a lone wolf in this game." But a ton of fun. I highly recommend you play as Victor Saltspire. Get the 2 pistols, bring them both out. Oh, feels so good. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been killing all the time with. Besides Divinity with Levi, of course, which is an incredibly great game. So, Joe, what did you find in your movie?
Yeah, well, for me, obviously, Warhammer Vermintide was on my list. And then, so recently, when I met up with Drew for this race, him and I went on Friday night, the night before the race, and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp because we had time to kill. Totally understand why I didn't rush out to the theater to see it or really feel the need to see it. But as we've come to expect from Marvel, it was good. But in the grand scheme of things, it feels like such a pinprick on the map that part of me questions why, you know. But it is cool how it does tie in a bit and relates, but still feels like a drop in the bucket compared to the overall universe theme.
I think, honestly, from what the rumors I've heard, and I won't spoil anything, it's going to be a really big player, and that some of the stuff they talk about in that movie will factor into Avengers 4 a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Which is good that you saw, because that way you won't be like, what the heck? Like,
yeah, well, and then that's good that there is going to be some relativity there, or major plot point tie-in. So that's good that there's a good reason.
Yeah.
Main point of that movie and the reason I like it a lot is Evangeline Lilly's in it. I mean, how can you not like it when she's in it? Anywho,
well, I mean, besides The Hobbit.
It was enjoyable. It was a good time at the theater. The laughs are appropriate. The comedy suits the movie, and it's at the right times. You don't particularly get overwhelmed with it. And when it's time to get serious, it does. That's about all I have to say about that. The other movie I saw, and since it's been like 2 weeks since I've been on the podcast, I was having a tough time remembering, but I had seen A Quiet Place. I rented it on Microsoft Store. And like, for a movie with like barely any dialogue, and it's actually not that long, it was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good movie.
Liked it. I really liked that film.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it with you, Joe, but I actually just watched it on my computer with like headphones by myself to like be like fully immersed in it. So I liked
headphones,
it too.
That's scary.
Oh yeah, in the dark, baby. I went full hardcore. I was
Jimmy watched a horror movie.
I would push back. I'd say it has horror elements, more of a thriller. It felt more Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure, but with a scary ass monster. Anywho,
anything that has like a farm setting is just scary.
Yeah,
I don't
darn
know why.
farmers.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Needless to say, I really liked it. I was really wondering how they were gonna have a spoiler alert, throwing the switch. Don't watch any. Skip 10 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear. I was really confused on how they were gonna have a baby and not get found and die.
Thank you. Ridiculous. They knew they were.
Yeah, like, it's called contraception. Use it, you idiots.
Why would you even want to? Like, I'm sorry, but if you're going to engage in that and you have to be as quiet as possible, what do you sign to the children? You're like, hey guys, we're going to be upstairs for a bit. Don't worry about anything. We will make no noise. Like, what? How did you? The logistics of it. What if her labor went for more than 24 seconds? That's all I'm trying to say. She has that baby like immediately. My sister just had a kid. It didn't just like happen. Like, it was like done. It was like, no. It's like, what if it was for hours of her screaming? Sorry
That's
about
why
that.
they put her in the box. Anyway, Joe,
Put her
what
in
did
the
you think
box.
about the Infinity War tie-in? Damn, man.
Oh, I was like, A Quiet Place? I'm like, holy crap, I must have...
I was like, are you shitting me?
You just post-Infinity War? Snap has happened?
Had to.
Oh, I hated the deaf teenage girl. God, she was just kind of annoying.
What?
Stupid.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're bouncing around.
We're talking about...
Like, what?
Yeah, and Ant-Man, you didn't see that?
Oh, this is one of the best podcasts we've ever done.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
No, how did I like that little tidbit at the end?
We both got out of our seat, so.
Really? Yeah. At first, I was kind of like, good riddance. And then I was like, oh no, Evangeline Lilly's gone. They got to fix this shit. You know?
Good riddance. That's got a good crew.
Last question I have. Did you like the alien design in A Quiet Place?
Yeah, but what did it remind me of? Oh, yeah, it reminded me of the Stranger Things.
Yeah, the Gorgon thing.
Gorgon.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which I wonder if they had worked on that before.
probably.
Joe, I was really hoping for like another Infinity War tie-in.
That'd be so good. To A Quiet
Yeah,
Place?
what was the other moment at the end of that movie? There was that one. Was that like the final after credit scene?
No.
What was the final after?
Once again, if you have not seen Ant-Man or Infinity War, then just skip up like 20 seconds. The final one is they kind of pan over. There's the emergency broadcast going on, and then there's an ant playing the drums.
Yeah. And I remember Drew and I looked at each other and were like, I'm writing a strongly worded letter to Disney. I just wasted a lot of my life watching that.
Oh, I really enjoyed that film.
Yeah.
That's
It
why
was
I'm booing
funny,
you.
but
I liked it.
I still don't get how he makes all those ants do all those things and how ants are bolts and
they can move bolts. Yeah,
and how does he call in a ant with wings every time that has a saddle on it?
They've got a bunch of
millions of ants around.
Well, you see, the people from Atlantis saddle them up because they're good at saddling up creatures like that. So they're ready to do it. They're ready.
Where it's a theme with me. I just end up with issues when the Velociraptor thing in Jurassic World, the ants and Ant-Man, the freaking sharks and Aquaman. I can't win, man.
I think Joe's just like a very big animal activist and is just getting really pissed off that all these animals keep getting saddled.
I respect it. I kind of want to do like a show where all three of us bring like.
I hated westerns too.
We all bring an idea that we know the other ones will hate, and we're like Levi and I specially crafted this film for Joe, or this idea for you, and a lot of it would be animals with saddles and like that.
The movie's called Saddle Up.
Saddle, yes. And then the hashtag is hashtag saddle up. So people are like, yeah, remember to tweet the hashtag saddle up after you think about the film and you see the film. Hashtag it. I wanted to mention one last thing. I did this for you, Joe. Last night I watched Braven, and
you did.
It's an hour and a half. Just skip to the last 30 minutes where there's some good stuff, and my boy Stephen Lang gets a kill that I cheered at out loud and went, yeah! It was brutal, and I really loved it. Movie's not that great. I mean, I was on my phone for most of it, but I was trying my best to pay attention because I was like, this is...
it's not overwhelmingly interesting in the beginning, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew what to expect going in for the most part,
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, we're running over time by a bit here, but that's okay. We're going to just finish it up here with some community feedback and questions. I love that it's questions. Let me do the timestamp. Excellent. Let's wrap it up with two or three quick questions. This might be one of my favorite ones. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I know Levi has, actually. Missile Mage, having been inspired by the people who turned the Christopher Robin trailer into a horror movie trailer, which one of my favorite lines from that is, what are you doing in the kitchen? He's like, blood is sweeter than honey, Christopher.
I loved that. I showed that to everybody at work, and they were like, "What is this?"
It's so funny.
What are you talking about right now?
You have to see this.
Somebody took and like redubbed and like reshot re-edited the Christopher Robin trailer to make it like a horror film where like all the characters are coming to kill, and there's like
it's like swinging his hair and he's like, "Kill them all!"
Oh no, take it. Says, "Go on."
That is awesome.
It's very good. They also did one with Mrs. Doubtfire a long time ago. Someone else did, and that one is also really incredible to make Robin Williams seem like a terrifying individual sneaking around the house.
I have to look these up now. Hurry up. Let's wrap this up.
The question is, what movies do you think could be improved by switching them into a different genre to turn them into something completely different? I feel like switching stuff into horror we've already kind of covered that.
Yeah, I always want to drop a horror in any movie I watch, but
I'm trying to think of like my favorite films, what I would turn them into.
Changing a romantic comedy into a suspense thriller. I don't know.
I'm going to change Captain America Civil War into a romantic comedy where it's more about the relationships and they're like trying to make it work. So it's like Tony's always talking to Gwyneth Paltrow and he's like, I'm so sorry right now. I really can't talk about this right now because Captain America is literally trying to kill me. He's trying to beat me to death right now. But it's just like, and so many miscommunications. And then it like shoots like Agent 13 and Cap, and she's just like, I love you, but you dated like my grandma or something. And that's kind of weird, but
oh my God, is that what it was? Was she?
Yeah, I think something.
Is she related to her?
Yeah, I think Aunt Peggy. Maybe it was her aunt.
That's her aunt. It's Aunt Peggy.
It's Aunt Peggy. Okay, Aunt. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's every time I say, "Are you serious?" Siri is like, "Can I help you?"
Yeah, are you serious? So I changed Captain America: Civil War into a rom-com, and everyone would hate it. Subsequently, it would be very bad. It'd be horrible. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's really making it improved though. It'd be funny for me.
That's a tough question. I mean, it's easy ones are like taking some sort of action or thriller and making it more horror.
I would take Predator and make it a comedy, or like Predator 2, where he's like in the real world and he's just trying to like buy stuff from a gas station, and like his little missiles thing just shoots the guy, and he's like, oh no, and then he's like just trying to befriend people. Like he's not trying to kill everyone who's not a threat to him, but he just inadvertently does it. It's like a Mr. Magoo situation.
I'd like to see your version of Jurassic Park where it's now a comedy.
Yes,
the dinosaurs are
the heroes.
Yeah, trying to be heroes and they keep screwing it up and killing people. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love that one. The T-Rex is like, we're gonna kill BD Wong for sure this time. Or Henry Wu or whatever his name is. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Dat Jackman, were you disappointed with the amount announced at this year's E3? I think it seemed like less, but I don't know. I think they're just saving up stuff for the next console generation, right? I feel like that's what a lot of it is.
No doubt. There's probably going to be a little bit of a lull between this and the next generation.
A lot of fluff.
Yeah. Last one, we already kind of talked about this. A favorite trailer come out of Comic-Con. That's from Bite Size Mega. I think we all kind of said Godzilla, unless there's one that I didn't mention that you guys were like, that's my favorite.
I feel like there were others. I just haven't been on top of it as I should be. But,
that's okay.
Those are the standouts.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up right there. Guys, if you ever have a question or a topic you'd like to bring in, submit to the show, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to any of us. You can tweet at the official Critical Reviews Twitter account, which is @GoCritical. It's capital G and a capital C. Or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you want to tweet a question or just a thought or comment to Levi, you can tweet at
Levi Fletcher.
And if you want to tweet something to Joe, you can tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver, only with an L.
Excellent. And if you listen to today's podcast and you like Twitter, how about you just tweet us the hashtag just like, I don't know, SDCC 2018 or something like that, or tell us your favorite trailer. Tweet us something. We want to know. We want to hear back from you guys because this is a dialogue. We want to hear from you. Also, we do stream on Twitch, so if you like games and you like our faces, mostly just mine and Levi's occasionally, but you can stop on by our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Critical Reviews. If you want to support us, though, there's a lot of different ways you can do that, like checking out our new merch store, which has got a bunch of cool shirts and stuff, and we're working on a hat for Joe right now because we're going to get him a hat. I know I'm working on it. He had all these specifications. It was a long time.
High crown front.
Yep. I want to thank the people who helped make the show possible, like the theme music from Daleb, and of course the art by Mr. Jorn Evers, who's actually working on a special project right now. When David opens a mysterious box that transforms his arm into an alien weapon, he at first uses it for good to right the wrongs of his high school. But as more of his body is transformed, he finds that playing God comes with its own set of new self-destructive perils. So look forward to that. Check out his Instagram and his Twitter @Naraj28 or @JadeCircleArt. Over there, and you can see some of this stuff as it's working on. We're working on some behind-the-scenes stuff for our actual Patreon right now. So if you want to support us and support Jorn at the same time, consider just throwing us a buck over there. If you guys like what we do, you can do that, and we can give you some cool stuff in return. That is one of those things you can, like $5, you get like a podcast early podcast for those people. I know there's some people out there who enjoy that sort of thing. So yeah, thank you guys for supporting us, sharing us around. That helps as well. But just hanging out with us, that's good, and letting us know what your favorite Comic-Con trailer is and why Aquaman is your favorite. And tweet at Joe and Levi why you love Aquaman and why they're so wrong about Aquaman. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to defend Aquaman. I don't care. He can defend himself. Look at him. He's Jason Momoa.
Trash emoji, please.
Trash emoji. Send Levi trash emoji, everybody. That's @Levi Fletcher. Anyway, Joe, Levi, thank you boys so much for stopping by. Do you guys have anything else you want to say, Joe, before we wrap up?
No, thank you, pal. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Levi, how about you, my friend?
Welcome to the game.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you stopping by. Love and hugs, adapt, and overcome. And we'll see you next time. Bye.